Hi guys, happy Friday. My name is John and you're listening to the Tech Leader Pro podcast. It is week 25, 2023, Friday the 23rd of June. You're very welcome. So let's get started. So this week I've been thinking a lot about reputational harm and how a leader's reputation precedes them. Whether we acknowledge it or not, our reputation precedes us into a room like a forward-facing shadow. If people look forward to your arrival or they dread it, it's up to you. Reputational harm occurs when you completely neglect your reputation. Let me give you an example. Some people I know expressed to me some concerns about another leader. That leader had a reputation of being confrontational, awkward, and unresponsive to feedback. That was the shadow that they cast. I had not met that person yet, but when I met them for the first time, their reputation turned out to be 100% accurate. I've said in the past before that your reputation as a leader is kind of like a currency that you can trade in. You can't really get anything done if everybody's working against you, and you need to protect your reputation jealously as a result. Leaders need to be very mindful of this, more so than other people, as leadership is ultimately about influence, and your influence erodes as your reputation erodes. Put simply, you end up with less to spend in your account in terms of reputation. Your balance goes down, you lose influence. So a leader needs to guard their reputation very, very carefully. They need to think about themselves as an ambassador, not a dictator. These days I do see a lot of leaders, especially younger ones, trying to behave like a dictator and ordering people around. And that'll get you so far. It's command and control. People will react, they will get things done for you, but they will resent it. Instead, I like to think about myself as a diplomat. I like to think that people are happy when they see me coming. I like to think that people like to do things for me because they like me as a person. Rather than demanding them to do something, I prefer to ask for a favour. At the end of the day, guys, the results are the same. The work gets done. It's just a question of whether the people around you resent you or not. In my life, I have a small list of people I will do anything for to help. An even smaller list I actively dislike. And I am different to everyone else. I can't care about everybody in the world. And I certainly can't dislike everyone either because that's exhausting. That's why that's an even smaller list. I genuinely don't hate anybody. I think life is too short. But to be blunt, if somebody ends up on my shit list, they're going to have to work hard to get off it. They're on there for good reason. They've either done something to upset me or they've upset people that I care about. I don't see the difference. Either of them is the same. You hurt the people I love, you're hurting me as well. People with bad reputations end up on a lot of people's actively disliked lists, which means they get a lot of pushback in life. Some people relish that conflict, but the fact is that having a lot of resistance in your life will require you to spend more energy to achieve the same results. It's better to have everybody pushing with you than pushing against you. Having everyone pushing against you, that's not a sustainable strategy long term. You'll end up exhausted. It's better to have the majority of your colleagues working with you instead of against you, unless you enjoy a lot of effort to get anything done. The other thing about a bad reputation is that it lingers like a bad smell, and it has a way of following people from company to company. Most industries tend to be small. They have an active grapevine in terms of rumours and reputation. And if you're burning bridges left and right and annoying people and getting under their skin, they'll remember that, and they'll tell their friends about it. And then your reputation for being a bit of an a-hole will spread. Then you'll find yourself applying for companies that you think nobody there knows you, but they've actually heard about you. And that can go against you when it comes to the recruitment process, especially as a leader. Your reputation is everything. Without your reputation, you're nothing. You're not going to achieve anything. As a leader, your success is in the hands of your team. Your success is in the hands of other people. If your team fails, all of those little failures aggregate and accumulate straight onto your lap, and you end up owning it. and they're not going to work hard for you if they don't like you. So for any new leaders listening to this, take this lesson very seriously, that your reputation is everything. Work on it, work on your relationships with people, build trust. Think about it as being like a tug of war. You want everybody pulling on the same rope, and you want everybody pulling with you in the same direction. If people are pulling in different directions or pulling against you, it's going to be way, way harder. And I don't understand when I see other leaders following this strategy. Sure, in the short term, you'll get something done, you'll get a release out the door, you'll get a project closed, you'll meet a deadline. But the reputational harm after will linger for a very long time. So you really have to take that stuff very, very seriously. Okay, so what else am I doing this week, apart from dwelling about reputational harm? On my 5 a day project, which is my personal productivity application, I fixed an issue with the password reset email. Initially, I was using the email function on my server to send that email. And of course, Gmail and other popular email providers were basically sending that straight to spam, as Gmail is wont to do. So now I'm using a third-party provider, which is whitelisted everywhere, to send that password reset email. So for anyone who needs to reset their password there, they should actually get the email, which is obviously critical for that flow. And then on grepper.org, which is my web search engine that I launched a few weeks back, I've now indexed 1.5 million web pages since I launched. But honestly speaking, I'm finding that to be a bit too slow. I was hoping it would be going faster, as that indexer is now running 24/7. What I'm seeing is with Apache Nutch, which is the open source indexer that I'm using, even on a multi-core server, it's only using a single CPU core. So obviously it's CPU bound as a result. And I may need to deploy multiple instances of Nutch on different machines to get it to scale. It's basically not scaling vertically on a single machine. It seems like it does actually require horizontal scaling on multiple machines. So that's something that I'll probably be working on in the next few weeks to try to get that indexing rate higher. The one thing I will say is I'm very happy about the quality of the content that's on the search engine. The results are top quality. So that's something I'll obviously want to maintain. But I do also want to increase the index rate to grow the index to a more reasonable size. In terms of media that I'm enjoying this week, I am still watching Silo on Apple TV, which is a science fiction show. It's getting closer now to the end of the season, so the pace has really picked up. Still remains very enjoyable, so definitely recommend that. And I just finished reading A Case of Conscience by James Blish. I'm thinking about either writing a review for some of the books I've read recently on my blog, or potentially I'm also mulling over the idea of launching a separate dedicated podcast just to do book reviews. I read a lot of books, and I'm thinking that it might be actually quicker just to get them out as little audio book reviews every couple of weeks, just for my own fun and amusement. And I know a lot of science fiction readers like myself like to listen to podcast reviews of books, so might be something that's fun to do. So I will think about that, and if I launch it, obviously I will announce it here. Watch this space. But yeah, it's a great book. It's a lot of fun, very interesting, very philosophical actually. Has some pretty deep questions, so definitely recommend A Case of Conscience by James Blish. Okay, so I will leave it there. I will speak to you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a successful week, and I wish you well for next week. Talk to you then. Take care. Bye.